G'day YouTube, Warbles on a lot here, and it's time for a mad scientist video. And for the fun of it, we're going to make it a malt liquor video. Cooper's Sparkling Ale, 1.7 standard drunks, the 5.8% bottle. I'm not actually pregnant. It's the 3rd of November and this stuff is best after the 24th of August 2015. Best after. And I will wager that's a thing you've never seen done one-handed with a mobile phone by a mad scientist before today. Label out malt liquor. So, dearly beloved, we are here gathered today to make a response video to Jordan of what used to be the chemistry question, lowercase one word, and which is now because we can. Separate words, capital at the start of each one. Now Jordan, he's a kind of a sophomoric chemistry student from the University of Colorado, and he lives in Colorado Springs. And when his channel, The Chemistry Question, came up, a good friend of mine, Refried Bean Dip, aka Richard Mann, suggested that I should subscribe to this channel because you don't often get an intelligent, young American making science videos. So I got on board and stayed there for quite a while. And young Jordan, he's an atheist, okay? That's fine, he's allowed to be an atheist, but he's the kind of atheist who thinks that anybody who's not an atheist must be retarded. Now, there are some atheists who think like that, and it's a perfect libertarian world. Everybody has free will to think what they like, whatever they think. So that's what Jordan thinks. So we've had a few disagreements at various times on his comment thread, and not such a long time ago, Jordan was making a video with a couple of sweet young things helping him to make the video, and he was reviewing some flat earth moron's long video about why the moron thought the world was flat, and I have no idea why, but Jordan decided that part of his attempted seduction technique at Tori and the other sweet young thing would be to throw comments into the narrative about how Warbles on a lot, in Jordan's view, is a flat-earth Christian creationist. Because, you know, like if you're an atheist like Jordan, then anybody who's not an atheist is obviously a theist, and all theists are equally mad, therefore Warbles on a lot must be equal to a flat-earth creationist. And I made a few comments on his video, and then behold, I found that I have been blocked. Presumably as part of the channel cleanup when Jordan got into Tori's pants. And the chemistry question became, because we can. Okay, so Jordan's been pussy whipped, and I've been blocked from his channel, which means instead of being able to just write a comment and say what I think about his video regarding a shooting which has occurred in Colorado Springs, which has just appeared in my feed, and I would like to have been able to reply, but as I said, since he's become pussy whipped, Jordan has blocked me. So therefore, in order to respond to the questions that Jordan asks, I'm going to have to read his clip description, published on November 2, 2015. There was a shooting in our hometown on Saturday. Really? There was a shooting in Colorado Springs on Saturday? Like this last Saturday, most recent Saturday? I'm sorry, mate, I didn't hear about it. As your president has said, shootings, mass shootings in America have become so commonplace, so mundane, that they do not make the news unless, I don't know, more than 10 or 20 people get killed. I didn't know. Not much is known at this time, so I'm not going to speculate, but what I hope is that we can stop using shootings to promote our own agendas and viewpoints, especially when they have nothing to do with what occurred, and instead try to figure out what happened and how we can prevent it from happening again. Yes, I realise the irony in using a tragedy to promote the agenda that people shouldn't use tragedies to promote an agenda. Disclaimer, Jordan made this video, and the views expressed are solely his and not necessarily the views of other contributors to the channel. Really? You really have been pussy whipped, have you not, Jordan, young fella, me lad? You poor little sophomoric fella. Okay, but let's talk about the issues that you've raised in your video, which I wanted to respond to, apart from the fact that I'm kind of disappointed in the shallowness that you have demonstrated by blocking me because I dared to point out in front of your seduction attempt that you're actually mislabeling me. I'm a mad scientist. Yeah, the madness isn't dangerous and the science is pretty good. Because I use swamp wallabies for psychotherapists. They have zero bullshit content, Jordan. Unlike you, who appear to have quite a high bullshit content because you fake your seduction techniques by putting shit on people for stuff that they never said, never thought, and do not espouse. You'll never get a swamp wallaby voluntarily hanging out with you, Jordan, because you have way too high a bullshit content, even though you're a chemistry student. But let's get back to the guns. You spent a lot of time talking about firearm availability. You spend a lot of time talking about people with preconceived agendas. You spend a lot of time talking about the criminally insane and how maybe something should be done to stop the criminally insane from getting a hold of guns, as if only somebody who is criminally insane is ever going to go on a shooting rampage. Jordan, 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 wake up to yourself. Whenever anybody chooses to break the law, they are completely ignoring the possibility of getting caught. They don't give a rat's ass what the head sentence is for the crime that they're planning to commit, because either they do not believe they're ever going to be caught because they think they're smarter than the entire police force in whatever country they live in, or they do not see what they are doing as being wrong. They feel fully justified. If you could pull your head out of your test tube and maybe subscribe to something like New Scientist magazine, or get on their website and go back and have a look at old articles on justice, or you could even have a look at some of the videos that I've posted reading New Scientist articles on justice and people's attitudes to justice, you'd find that people think they're fully justified in killing anybody who frightens them or killing anybody who angers them. It's sad, but it's true. You don't need to be insane. You don't need to be psychotic, deluded, out of touch with reality, schizophrenic, manic, in order to decide to kill. Some people who are totally sane decide that they are really angry, and because they're angry, they declare war on the world. They decide it is their right to throw a temper tantrum. And when they throw their temper tantrum, instead of speaking up or writing a letter, they get a hold of a psychological penis extender, something which will disseminate the seeds of death across the landscape, and they go out and they use their penis extender to fire death seeds, pellets, ballistic projectiles, and they can do it with a bloody bow and arrow or a spear thrower. But most of them do it with a chemically propelled firearm. And they kill whoever annoys them, or they kill whoever happens to stand still enough, close enough for them to be able to hit. And if they're chasing fame and glory, if they want to go out in a blaze of glory, unquote, thank you, John Wayne and the Hollywood fantasy. If they want to go out in a blaze of glory, they may do what Martin Bryant did in Tasmania before semi-automatic long arms were banned in Australia, and take an AR-15 to a tourist resort and a restaurant and run around shooting strangers. And Martin Bryant wasn't mad. He was a moron, technically, legally, IQ 68 or something. He apparently murdered his stepfather so that he could inherit. The cause of death was that this bloke tied his ankles with barbed wire and then jumped into a dam and drowned. That was how he committed suicide. That was how Martin Bryant got the money. He was such a boring fart that he used to buy airline tickets so that he could sit beside a captive audience and have somebody to talk to. And then he decided to kill as many people as possible. And he killed about 35 people. So here in Australia, our government, a government that I did not vote for, took away the population's ability, right, to own a long arm if it's a semi-automatic. And I think that was a good thing, even though I had to give up my grandfather's semi-automatic target rifle that I was rifle team captain of the Chevalier College rifle team when I was in high school. I had to give up my grandfather's target rifle because semi-automatic long arms became illegal. And I agree with it, because if it means that other people who may not be as well balanced as I like to think I am, drinking in the middle of the day and living on an endangered species sanctuary, if they're not as well balanced as I am, and I've never shot another person, if it stops them from having access to a firearm so that they can use modern chemical propellants to have a ballistic death seed temper tantrum across the landscape, and that means that I'm at less risk of getting shot at in the car park of the supermarket, then okay, my life is made materially safer by me not having a gun. That's something that the Yankees in the excited states of Norte Americano do not seem to be able to politically get their head around. Where you live, Jordan, 25% of the people in the nation own at least one firearm. The number of people living in your nation and the number of firearms known to be held by the people in the nation is equal. There's one gun for every person in America, but only a quarter of Americans own any guns. So in theory, there's 25% of the population who have 4 guns each. In practice, a bunch of people have 1 or 2 guns, and a few people have rugby. That's what you got to say when you burp in a malt liquor video. There's a few people who have a lot of guns. Some people have 10 or 15 or 20. But the assumption that it's okay for everybody to have a gun unless they've already broken a few laws means that a whole bunch of people who have all kinds of crazy ideas have access to guns until they fuck up. And a lot of times you're not going to find that they fuck up until they try to shoot everybody in the house or everybody in the neighbourhood. And the National Rifle Association has teamed up with Hollywood and the print media to push the concept that owning a gun makes people safer. Whereas in actual fact, the American FBI states that in terms of which gun shot whom, the most likely person for any gun to shoot is the owner of the gun. The next most likely person to be shot by any gun is the partner of the owner of the gun. The next most likely person is anybody else who lives in the house with the gun owner. The next most likely person are the neighbours of the gun owner. Then you come down the list to strangers, and when you get down to the 1% of people who are shot are actually shot by somebody who is defending themselves from some kind of an attack. And to be honest, Jordan, I would have to say that in what they call psycho-historical terms, there is so much sociological inertia where you live in the excited states of Norte Americano to allow anybody who hasn't yet fucked up to carry a gun, to have a concealed gun on theory that you can keep yourself safe by shooting whatever frightens you. You know, there are some states that have a law that says not a step back. So if somebody frightens you and you think you have to step back, whether they've got a gun or not, you're allowed to shoot them because you were scared. The excited states of Norte Americano is 360 million fucking cowards with 360 million guns, and only 25% of them are carrying the guns. I can't see that you guys are going to sort it out. Not this side of Americano Civil War 2.0. Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Think about that, Jordan. Ciao.